Have you ever pondered on the question, can a drug change the course of history? In the 19th century, the Opium Wars marked an epoch where opium, a single drug, ignited two colossal conflicts between the East and the West. The British Empire, with its insatiable economic interests in China, clashed with China's staunch resistance to foreign influence. This was a time of global power dynamics, where the trade of a mere poppy derivative could shape nations. So how did this tension ignite into full-fledged wars? Let's delve into the timeline. The year is 1839 and tensions are at a boiling point. China's Emperor Daoguang, weary of the societal decay spurred by rampant opium addiction, has just issued an edict banning the narcotic. But Britain, intoxicated by the lucrative profits of the opium trade, is not ready to back down. In response, the British merchants continue to smuggle opium into China, leading to a direct confrontation. The spark that ignites the powder keg is the destruction of 20,000 chests of British opium at Canton by Chinese officials. This act of defiance sends shockwaves across the globe, and the First Opium War erupts. The war is a series of naval skirmishes, with the technologically superior British forces dominating the seas. Despite the valiant resistance of the Chinese, the might of the British Navy proves too much. By 1842, China is forced to concede defeat. The war concludes with the Treaty of Nanking, a document heavily skewed in Britain's favor. This treaty forces China to pay a hefty indemnity, opens up 5 treaty ports to foreign trade, and most notably, cedes the island of Hong Kong to Britain. This treaty marks the beginning of the unequal treaties era in China, a period characterized by foreign domination and territorial concessions. The First Opium War had ended, but the peace was tenuous at best. A mere 14 years later, the embers of conflict are stoked anew. The Second Opium War, also known as the Arrow War, was ignited by a seemingly small event, the Arrow Incident in 1856. This incident involved the British accusing the Chinese of piracy and kidnapping on a ship, the Arrow. But beneath this spark lay a more significant issue: the demand for diplomatic equality between the Qing dynasty and the West. The war saw major battles that tilted the scales of victory towards the British and French forces. The most notable of these was the capture of Beijing in 1860. The Qing dynasty, underestimating the technological might of the Western powers, found itself in the clutches of defeat. The end of the war was marked by the signing of the Treaty of Tientsin and the Convention of Beijing. These agreements forced China to open more ports to foreign trade, permit foreign legations in Beijing, and cede territory to the British. The treaties also legalized the opium trade, which had been the bone of contention from the start. These terms were a blow to China's sovereignty, reducing it to a semi-colonial state. The Qing dynasty lost much of its power and prestige, paving the way for significant internal and external changes in the years to come. The Opium Wars had far-reaching consequences, forever changing the landscape of global power. The dust of war had settled, but the scars were deep and long-lasting. The aftermath of the Opium Wars saw Western powers further infiltrating China, hastening the decline of the Qing dynasty. The fires of anti-imperial sentiment were stoked, sparking a new era of resistance. These conflicts, a stark display of imperial ambition, reshaped global dynamics. They underscore the resilience of a nation and the relentless march of history. The Opium Wars, a testament to the extremes of imperial ambition and the resilience of a nation, continue to echo in our collective memory.